Hello and welcome to Country Matters. Today, on this beautiful spring day, I'm out walking the public footpaths, the byways and roads to see what spring's got to offer us, see what's emerging. What you need is a good pair of boots, a stick, you'll need a packed lunch, a pair of binoculars, you'll also need your field guide, so as if anything you can check up on. I always carry a notebook so as I can keep records of what I see, and you also need a map so that you're not going to get lost. So with that, we're going to go and see what's about. The good thing about walking in the countryside is that you can do it wherever you live. We're here in the southwest of England. Wherever you are at this time of year, the plants are all bursting. You can see masses of cow parsley here. The important thing to remember when walking in the countryside is the safety aspect, and you should always face oncoming traffic. The countryside code is something else that you should be aware of and that you should always follow. This particular verge side here is quite interesting. If you're into herbal tea, then the common nettle is an easy one to go for. These are just emerging, these plants, and as you can see they're just coming into flower. But to make the tea it's quite simple. You take the youngest leaves and chop them up to make tea. You can also use them as a vegetable, and if you chop them up again and stew them down, it makes one very similar to what spinach is. Of course we all know the nettle because children are always getting stung by them. Wildflowers are very rarely seen today with modern agricultural practices, so one of the best places to see them is actually on the verge side. And we're going to look at this patch here and just see how many we can find. So straight away here I can see cuckoo pine. Its proper name, Lord and Ladies. But as in most areas, they often have their own local name. Here's one that's just about to break open, and this one's just going over. In the autumn, of course, they're spikes with lots of red berries on them. It's a shade-loving plant that likes the areas under trees and so on, as does the common vetch, which is right next to it. Here we have a lovely flower that's just the top part just about to come out. It's a member of the pea family, and it's a climber, and you can just see the curls that'll be climbing up these other plants as they continue to grow. Moving a metre over here, fighting our way through the cow parsley, the dock, there's dandelion, there's red campion just about to come out here. We're actually looking at the speedwell. This is a beautiful plant. Just look at the beauty, the intensity of the blue there with the white centres. If I can just get at it here. But there it is. What a beautiful plant that is. But now I'm going to leave the road and cut across the fields to a farm which is an absolute gem. It's a place that hasn't been sprayed for some 25 years, and we shall look at pasture as it was 30-40 years ago. The thing you must do in the countryside is to keep your eyes and your ears open at all times. I'm now just about to leave the road and go onto my track. Oh, but look at this. This is exciting. This is where a fox or a badger or possibly a deer or rabbits would use coming down across this road. If it was deer, on the barbed wire fence you'd see some hares. So it's a very well-worn track. We can't smell fox. You can often smell fox if it's a run of a fox. I think that's a well-worn badger track. And let's see if we can find the exit on the other side. And here it is, I think. Yes. It's rising up the bank here and back into a field on the opposite side. Badgers are something you don't see very often. You may see them by the lights of your vehicle, and occasionally you'll see them dead at the side of the road. But I think that gives some idea as to just how many badgers there are. The good thing about walking in the country is that it can be done for very little cost. Spring is my favourite time because everything is fresh and new. What may at first appear to be just a bank of green grass can reveal many things, and this is where the field guide is handy. This is a green track which were used many years ago for the drovers' tracks. Hedges either side, always a pleasure to walk through. Oh, and there's a cuckoo calling. Very epitome of spring. My first one. So here we are. We finally made it. Most of the walk's been uphill, but it's certainly been worthwhile. Years ago, all pasture land would have looked like this. And just look at it. It's absolutely stunning. Cowslips by the million. Just the complete field is covered in yellow. Early season yet. Another few weeks and this will be absolutely littered with butterflies. I can't wait to see it. But now I'm going to have some lunch. On your travels, always keep your eyes peeled. There is always plenty to see, so take your time. What a beautiful day. I'm going to sit down now and have some lunch here, I think, and overlook that beautiful valley. Let's have a look. It's important when you're having your lunch in the countryside that you've got permission to do so and that you don't leave your litter, remembering the countryside code. I've got my sandwiches, got a bottle of beer, so we can open that up and drink to the beauty of the British countryside. Walking in the country doesn't present any major problems so long as you keep to the footpaths. I prefer to walk on my own. That way I know I shall see more. Any walk, especially on a hot day, it's a good idea to take in a cut through the wood. This wood, known as Oakwood, has always impressed me. It's a very large wood, but more interestingly, the top half of the wood is completely covered in bluebells, whilst the bottom half here is covered in ramsons. Ramsons cover the entire woodland, blanketing it out. Their other name, of course, is wild garlic, and even if you don't know the plant, when walking through a woodland that's covered in them, the smell is absolutely glorious, that strong smell of onions. Being a member of the onion family, you could actually cook with them. However, all British plants are protected, and it's much better to come and see them rather than picking them to take them home. I like to make notes on what I see, and when I get home I will copy all my observations into a large journal. It's great to be able to look back over the pages and see what changes have taken place over the years. There are many things happening at the moment, and with some patient observations many things will reveal themselves. Here we are in the top half of the wood now, and as you can see it's carpeted with bluebells, and lucky for me the footpath runs straight through the middle. The bluebell is a member of the hyacinth family, and as you can see they look absolutely stunning, but the thing that hits you the most is the smell. It is just incredible. If that has whetted your appetite for a walk in the countryside, then the best place to start is by scrutinising an Ordnance Survey map, which shows all public footpaths. The best place to buy an Ordnance Survey map would be your local shop. Alternatively, you could get in touch with the Ramblers Association of Great Britain, who will be only too pleased to give you the details of your local club. But a word of caution here: if you're going into the countryside to see wildlife or birds, then it's best to do it alone, or possibly with one other, because silence and stealth are essential if you're going to watch wildlife. Now, if you're one of those people that has to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, or even earlier, you'll know what a pain that can be, especially if you've been out the night before. But at least you'll have the weekend to look forward to. So just spare a thought for the people we're about to look at. They have to be up at 4 a.m. every morning, 365 days a year. This is Saltbox Farm in Wiltshire, and it's owned by Tony Gregory. It's a mixed farm, and over the years Tony with his two sons have built up an excellent pedigree herd of Friesians. It's afternoon milking, and these cattle know precisely where they're going. Twice a day, every day, these cows have to be milked. They'd soon let you know if they were late. As the cows enter the parlour, they each go into a separate stall. The farmer knows each individually and allocates the right amount of food for each cow. The special pellets are dispensed down chutes. The food not only keeps them occupied, but it also provides essential vitamins. First, all the udders are cleaned. After that, the milking clusters are attached. The vacuum simulates the sucking motion of a calf. Once the milking is in progress, everything happens automatically. Fresh milk is drawn down the tubes into the glass flask. This measures each cow's yield. From there it passes into a cooling jar, and it is then pumped up through pipes into a large tank in the next building. Here it is chilled, ready for collection. When each cow is finished, the machine senses this and the clusters detach automatically. The udders are then sprayed with iodine to stop infection, and the whole cycle starts again. This is hurdle maker Bill Oram. I went along to meet him on a lovely summer's morning. So Bill, how do you go about making a hurdle?
Well, you start with a mould, which is basically a nice big lump of wood. It's got a set of 9 holes drilled in along the length of it. These are approximately sort of 9 inches apart.
Right.
So there's your mould, that's your basic sort of hurdling mould. We then go on to your first lock-in rods. Now the idea of the first 2 woven rods that you put in is to hold the zeils tight in at the bottom and to stop the weave from dropping off when the hurdle's picked up.
I see.
So we do what we call an ether twist. So it goes in and out and over and under at the same time. Like so. And see that's gone under. It goes over. So on and so forth all the way along till we get to the other end.
And this looks quite a high hurdle. Would hurdles normally have been 3 foot, or what height you worked in?
I guess it would depend on how good your sheep were at jumping.
Right.
I suppose traditionally somewhere between 3 and 4 feet.
Yes.
I shouldn't imagine the old sheep hurdlers spent much time with tape measures measuring them. They probably got up to what looked about a good height to them. Yeah. And away they'd go.
Bill, what are we doing now?
We're cleaving the hazel rods. Twofold benefit really. It means that one rod makes 2 weaves.
Yes.
So you get twice as much weave for your wood. Secondly, of course, if it's half as thick, it will cut down on the weight. Also gives it quite a nice colour variation because you've got a light colour on one side and a dark colour on the other.
Hurdle making is a very old skill and is enjoying quite a resurgence in popularity. Bill retrained after being made redundant from his old job, and since setting up on his own, he supplies many garden centres around the area. This is a classic example of the old methods being the best. A well-made hurdle can last up to 15 years. Hazel is the best wood to use because it grows straight, splits easily, and when twisted does not break. Instead, the fibres of the wood bind together, enabling the hazel to be turned back on itself, effectively acting like a rope, holding the uprights together.
Not too many years ago, conservation was a joke. People didn't take it seriously, or the people that were interested in it weren't taken seriously. Nowadays, I think the old greenhouse effect panic made a difference. Made people start looking around them and thinking, oh well, maybe things aren't just staying the way they've always been. And nowadays, people look at conservation a lot more seriously, and they're beginning to understand that if we don't look after what we've got, it's not going to be here. Apart from the hurdles, we also make a variety of rose arches, garden seats, trellis screens and things like that for people's gardens. Hazel's, it's a nice medium to make a frame to grow a nice plant up. If you're going to grow wisteria and things like this and you want them to climb, they just look more natural on a hazel pole. If you can keep somewhere around 350 stools per acre, that gives you approximately the correct density to make your stools grow straight up, and they're looking for the light. If you've got too many gaps between your stools, then your rods will tend to grow outwards and upwards and they'll have bends in them. Grow them too close and of course they shade each other out and you lose half your stuff in rotten wood.
It takes Bill just under an hour to complete a hurdle.
Now in order to get your wood to twist, you pull it this way against your end zail and that puts a certain amount of pressure there. As you pull it around this way, just a little, you then grip your rod and twist away from you. And you'll see that it will twist like a rope. There it goes. Now that allows it to twist around there, nice and tightly, it comes down on the top of that stumpy rod and in. Over, wind that one in. There, tap that down tight. And then we do the same at this end. See where that bark's come off, you can see that quite nicely there, can't you? Okay.
When finished, the ends are trimmed off to tidy it up. And there it is, a beautifully made hurdle that will last for many years.